Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Maitri and I'm very passionate about tabletops and I'm learning to be a better GM, a better player, and a better person. And I'm going to show you some of the cool stuff that I've been learning. Today I want to talk about a thing I've learned in Alien, the role-playing game. Specifically, I want to talk about the stress mechanic. Quick summary of the game. Alien is a survival horror tabletop RPG by Free League Publishing, set in the cinematic universe of Ridley Scott's Alien films. It's dangerous, it's tense, in all the best ways. You play people, scientists, security officers, colonists, just try to make a bit of scratch and pretty much just make it to tomorrow in a pretty punishing environment. There's no glory out here. The system uses a very lean version of the Year Zero engine, and I love Free League and Year Zero generally. Specifically, I want to talk about the stress mechanic there, and as I mentioned. Before I dive in though, I do just want to gush about Free League for a second. I really like how they handle IPs. Whether it's One Ring or Alien, they don't just skin shit for reference. They capture the vibe. And I don't know what it is, but One Ring felt like Lord of the Rings, and Alien feels like Alien. I don't know a better way to describe it, but vibes are immaculate. So anyway, what is stress? So stress, basically it's one of the most elegant horror mechanics I've ever seen in a tabletop. And it's not your classic fear check or runaway kind of mechanic. In Alien, stress builds, and when it gets high enough, it lashes out in unexpected ways, and that's what makes it so enjoyable for me and one of the most fun mechanical tools I've seen for supporting horror pacing at the table. This isn't a rules explainer or instruction video, so if you're looking for that, you won't find it here. This is a reflection on this specific mechanic and why I think it's cool. If, as a GM or as a player, you are curious about how mechanics can reinforce story, especially horror, this might be useful. How does it work? Stress can be accumulated basically every time your character takes a hit or sees something horrific, faces a high stakes moment, and it kind of models mounting pressure. And honestly, in a survival horror game and setting like Alien, you're dealing with all that shit fairly regularly. Every point of stress, though, is one extra die you add to your action. But the thing is, stress dice have a facehugger symbol on them. If you roll a facehugger, that means you panic. So having more stress means that you have a higher chance of success because basically you have a bigger pool. But it's also riskier because all those extra dice could roll a facehugger and could make you panic. Once you do panic, and it is when, it's not if, you will roll and consult the panic table to see what happens. Do you freeze up? Do you drop your weapon? Do you start screaming bloody murder? The table will tell you, and that's what I mean by lashing out in unpredictable ways. When you panic, it's not just personal, it affects the whole group. So, narratively, what this means is you get a really powerful through line for your character. The more pressure you're under, the sharper you get. You're focused, you're efficient, you're dialed in. But the longer you stay in that state, the closer you get to snapping and to something breaking. The one thing I will say about the stress mechanic is that it probably won't land for everybody. Specifically, I don't think it's gonna be a good fit for people, even narratively, for whom survival is the primary goal, because it sort of rewards risk taking by making you stronger under pressure, but the pressure builds until it breaks you. You get better at things because you're scared, not in spite of it. I personally love the potential for failure, and personally, I consider character death and trauma to just kind of be the price of admission for certain games, and Alien is one of them. So I personally love the stress mechanic. But if your table is full of people that they like to play a little more thoughtful, a little more cautiously, and they optimize for survival, totally valid way to play. But this might not work well for them because the stress mechanic might end up just feeling kind of punishing, because it sort of forces risk and pushes you towards fragility. The point is to feel the fear and act anyway, and that's not the right energy for every table, and that's okay. But if you kind of live for the tension of a potential fail state, which I do, this is one of those mechanics that really sings. If everyone is here to lean into themes of like grit and panic and desperation, it's phenomenal. I also learned how awesome it is to kind of let players drive tension sometimes, Levels of stress and outcomes on panic tables give your players sort of a compass, and they turn this sort of abstract fear into actual roleplay. Like a lot of folks, it may not occur to them to choose to stumble backward or scream, but when the game tells them that that's what they do, they know exactly how to make it compelling. That medic who's been like cool and collected for the first half, now she's on 7 stress and super reckless, and she's twitchy, she's snappy, and she's starting to crack. That arc has been organically emergent. It's been player-led, it's been mechanic-driven, or if you want to put it another way, it's fucking gold. Anyway, that is all I have. If you like this video, consider subscribing, but if you don't like notifications or subs, I do have a backlog of stuff. And I also have an audio-only podcast format as well as a written blog format if that's better for folks like from an app accessibility perspective. I'm also on a few APs, including one for Alien. Links to all that in the description box. Thanks so much for hanging out. Come see me again soon. Bye.